4 today to schedule your first appointment. That's 217-824-1134. SIU Medicine. Forward for you.
WTIM. Good morning, Central Illinois, and welcome to the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. The show is sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Reed Kamai, and we start things off today with Taylorville Police Chief Dwayne Wheeler, who makes his debut on the Reed Kamai hosted WTIM Morning Show. Chief Wheeler, good to have you in finally.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you. And we've got a lot to get to, some new things going on at the police department as well. I know you've done a lot of messaging in terms of crime going down. You did that with our community spotlight. You maintain that that's still the case. Just talk a little bit more about what you're seeing, the numbers that you've got.
Yeah, our service calls is down drastically. Just crime in all categories are down, and it's kudos to the guys and girls that I work with. They're working hard out there daily, and it's, of course, like I always say, it's the citizens that keep us informed of the bad element. And by working together, it's just going to keep on going down. So it's a great working relationship. We have to stay strong with our citizens and listen to them. And the main thing is in policing is, when a citizen gives you a complaint, you have to follow up. And if you don't, word gets around. So our priority is to follow up on every single complaint that we get. Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot that, it sounds like is going on in order to make that happen. What if as much as you can describe, what are, some of those major components in that work that is bringing the crime down, you say?
Well, you know what? We have a lot of people here that are very, street savvy, where if they see a lot of traffic coming in and out of a location, they'll give us a call, and that's usually about drug traffic. We'll go ahead and investigate that. Suspicious people in areas where they shouldn't be. And, that's a huge one. People call in suspicious people all the time. And sometimes we get, warrants out of there, or we get someone just about to do a break-in. So, we just want the citizens to know that we appreciate that and keep on calling us.
Yeah, and you talked about responding to cases, so so that way you're on top of that. How has that kind of affected your resource allocation? Do you have the resources, the people power to handle all of that?
We do. Actually, we run most of the time, for a shift, and during the day, we have detectives, so we can be 7 or 8 people. We have 2 detectives that work mostly during the day, and then we get administration, and also we have patrol, so we have plenty of resources to go out there. And one good thing too about Taylorville PD is the admin, including myself, are active on the street, and we'll take complaints also.
All right, so a lot of folks getting involved there at the Taylorville Police Department. And speaking of which, you've talked about an increase in enforcement out on the roads. Just talk about kind of what that looks like in terms of how you folks do it, what folks can expect to see out there.
Well, I'm very stat oriented. I look at I believe in results. I don't believe in just talking about it. And every month, we have council meetings and committee meetings and things like that, and daily I look at the stats and see where we're at. And one thing, we did a survey recently just at the end of the year, and what people wanted to see was more visibility of police in the city of Taylorville, and also more traffic enforcement. So I rewritten a policy that we didn't have, and I put it on the books. And we can't have quotas or anything like that, but we can have contacts, and my officers basically do the contacts every day. But last month I believe we had 430 traffic stops, which doesn't mean citations. I believe we had close to 140 citations. And it's not about citations. I'd rather have an officer, just pull you over and say, slow it down, or make sure you stop completely at a stop sign. We do keep, we have a CAD system. We keep track of people we give warnings to. So if we stop someone and this is third warning, most likely you're going to get a citation because you haven't listened to the last time. But, we're all a family here, and, we will, we try not to give you a ticket if you, but it's officers' discretion.
Yeah.
We have traffic enforcement officers that really go out there and get after it. And then we got some, that will, if they see something, they'll stop. So it's all about basically it's the type of traffic you're doing. If you're doing 80 and a 30, you're going to definitely get a ticket. So just use common sense.
Common sense indeed, and worth noting that you folks do track the warnings. And I feel like I've seen maybe a slight uptick in the cars out there in your vans. So. Puts me on my best behavior out there as well. Now, so you talked about enforcement going up and a decrease in crime. Like how, if at all, is there a connection between those two?
I don't think there's a connection between. There's definitely a connection that our traffic has definitely. We've stepped up a lot on traffic, but when it comes to crime in general, that is due to proactive policing and also getting tips from the citizens. And they keep rolling in. Our Facebook page has done wonders for us. We're a city of 11,000. I believe we have 31,000 followers, and that just shows you that people do engage with us, and they DM us on a lot of things, which I talked about complaint wise. They when they DM us, we go ahead and take action on it. But overall, the crime has just been a steady going down, and it's due to working with the public. That's our citizen. Our citizens it's always been our report card, and so that's how I look at grading my department, is how our citizens feel about our police department, and if we're spotting on time, or if we're following up on complaints. Of course, generosity goes a long way. Compassion goes a long way. All those things work together when it comes, especially in today's age in policing. You heard on the news, police officers today, sometimes, we're lucky we have I believe we have a city that supports us, and for us to keep that relationship, we have to work hard.
Yeah. So all of that, a big factor there as well. So, you talked about like the getting the support from the community. So, it sounds like there's the connection from social media. There's a survey that I think you were talking about earlier. What other ways are you kind of connecting with the community to involve them, which, as you say, is important?
Well, I think we have probably one of the best community policing departments around. Annually, we have several events that we do with our citizens, and not just in Taterville, but our citizens countywide. We have, kids, coffee, ice cream. We got fishing with police officers. We just have a bunch of events that we put on. I have great community policing officers that are committed to community policing, and they spend tirelessly hours. They spend a lot of time getting these events ready, and we have great turnouts. And so we have to be out there and engage with the public, not just, enforcement wise, but we have to be out there and show them that, we're a whole family working together.
You mentioned earlier, so you were talking about the, hearing from folks through social media. I think this is the first time I, at least, have ever heard a police chief use the term DM, which is, hey, I'm happy about that. That's some of the youth talk nowadays, and Police Chief Dwayne Wheeler knows what that's all about. He joins me right now on the WTIM morning show. Chief Wheeler, let's take a break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about some of the trainings and certifications that your officers have been recently involved in, as well as, I'm sure, plenty else right here on the WTIM morning show on your information station.
Your information station, WTIM.
AgriTalk is the radio talk show for American agriculture. Hi, everybody. I'm your host, Chip Flory. We join you weekday mornings from 10 to 11 on WTIM on AM and FM and on the WTIM streams. We provide farmers and ranchers with timely insights and information aimed at improving their operations. Join me, Chip Flory, weekdays at 10:06 on your ag information station, WTIM.
It's time to renew or purchase your new 2-year golf membership at one of the area's most popular courses, Lakeshore Golf Course, just south of Taylorville. Manager Jason Boldig here, reminding you of these benefits our members receive, including unlimited greens fees at all 4 of our area courses. The best part's the price, just $318 for a 2-year membership. Get to Lakeshore Golf Course, just south of Taylorville now to renew or purchase your new 2-year golf membership and get in the swing.
Brandy Bruley here, Superintendent of Taylorville, inviting you to find out the great things happening in our district. Tune in on air or online to the WTIM Morning Show the first Thursday of the month at 8:40 when we present our monthly good news segment. From academics to the arts to athletics and more, we'll focus on how we achieve student success every month. Tune in on air or online when the WTIM Morning Show presents the Taylorville School District Good News segment the first Thursday of each month at 8:40. And go Tornadoes.
Your locally owned Scooters Coffee at routes 29 and 104 in Taylorville are proud to be the exclusive sponsor of the WTIM Tornado Give Back promotion. Scooters Coffee will donate the following to the Taylorville Sports Boosters. For each Tornado varsity football touchdown, they're donating $10. For each 3-point shot in varsity Tornado boys and girls basketball games, they're donating $3. And $5 for each home run scored by varsity baseball and softball team. The 22 local Scooters Coffee Taylorville, thank you for your business. Amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast.
Nicole Patrick here, your local country financial representative at 1305 West Bresser in Taylorville. I'm proud to recognize the Lady Tornado student athletes that represent our community by being the exclusive sponsor of the ILSportswire.com Taylorville Lady Tornadoes Player of the Game this school year. At the end of each game, a Lady Tornado will be selected to receive a certificate for being named our Player of the Game, and they'll be featured in a highlighted reel on the ILSportswire.com social media platforms. Best of luck to all the girls teams this season, and go Lady Tornadoes!
Whether you need a same-day procedure or life-saving care in an emergency, Taylorville Memorial Hospital has the technology and the team to deliver exceptional care. It's where great care comes together. Learn more at TaylorvilleDailyNews.com.
With over 8 hours a day of agriculture programming weekdays and 2 hours on Saturdays, WTIM AM, FM, and online is your ag information station. Listen by tuning in on air or online, and listen to WTIM Ag podcasts anytime.
Your information station, WTIM.
Welcome back to the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. The show is sponsored by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Reed Kamai, and sitting across from me right now is Taylorville Police Chief Dwayne Wheeler, and we spent the first segment talking about some of the recent trends in crime and enforcement in Taylorville. Now, you folks have been busy as of late with all kinds of things going on. I know today is an important day in the law enforcement community, as it is a National Dispatcher Appreciation Day, or at least Dispatcher Appreciation Day. Talk a little bit more about that and what you folks are doing.
Yeah, I think dispatchers are the lifeline of the police department. You know, if you think about it, you know, when you call 911, that's the first person you talk to, and they're the ones that dispatch calls to us, and also they're the ones that make sure that we're safe on the street. And I have probably one of the best dispatchers, the best dispatchers, in my opinion, in Central Illinois. These ladies and guys just do a great job every single day, and they take pride in their work. And you know, they also wear many hats. Casey DeVore is one of them. She's huge on our community policing and also our Facebook page. So, you know, she does a wonderful job, and they all do. And I just, I can't thank them much for how much they do for us as police officers, and by keeping us safe.
Yeah, I mean, it's important work, and you know, I would imagine there's quite a bit of training to become a dispatcher, but no amount of training can prepare you, for everything that happens. I mean, I'm sure you'll say the same thing is true for policing in general. So yeah, really important work you folks do. And actually, a story about Dispatcher Appreciation Day just happens to be in our news rotation for today. So too is a story about some recent trainings that your team has been involved in. Talk a little bit about some of that and how it's going to hopefully help you folks.
Yeah, we just had a recent grad on Friday. He 4 months of police staff and command training at the Northwestern Institute. That's a great school. I went to that school several years ago. And also we had 3 officers graduate from the Illinois Tactical Association. And that is just, that school there too, just having tactical officers that are trained really helps our community. And training's the key. And, my job as a chief is mentor these young men and women, for the next generation. And I'm just proud to be their leader. And my job every day is to mentor them and make them the best they are.
Mentoring them. And then it sounds like also, guiding them towards, the trainings that you say will make a difference in what you folks do. Yeah, so you've got the trainings, and I know something else you talk about a lot on this show is the work in the area of recovery. I know you folks have the Safe Passage program. Talk a little bit about what's been going on with that in the months since you've been on the show.
Well, yeah, the recovery community just grows and grows and grows. I'm just so humbled that it's like, it's just driving itself now. People are watching other people become sober and live a happy life, and they want that. And we have so many today that are in recovery. I remember before we used to have 2 or 3 people down at the NA and AA groups, and now we have 35, 40. I mean, that just shows you how much the community has grown with recovery, and the stigma is gone. If someone says they're an alcoholic or used to be addicted to meth, it's not a big deal anymore. It's what they're doing today, and I'm proud of every single one of them. And they know that Taylorville PD is there for them if they need anything, and they call us all the time, anyways, and keep in contact with us, and they're just a bunch. I just see it growing and growing and growing. And that's why crime is down too, because the ones that used to steal to support their habit are not doing it no more. So it works out both ways.
Yeah. And I think it's great that it sounds like folks who are involved in this recovery process are like still connected with you folks specifically, right? Like at the police department, which, I think it sounds like, an important connection because, in certain circumstances, they, it may be more difficult to, and here they are, sharing their stories and just continuing that sort of relationship, which, I would imagine helps them even more. And then that difference probably extends a lot further out. Would you agree with that?
I would. I mean, the relationship prior to them becoming sober, they completely disliked the police because we put them in jail and all that. And jail's not the answer. I'm a big believer. I think drug court's great. Drug court does wonders. Judge Paisley runs that program, probably the best in the state of Illinois. And he's changed so many lives by this program too. So it's just all of us working together, helping just one individual change their life around makes me happy. But when you see dozens, it's very humbling. And I know it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing. And the city looks cleaner. The jobs, people are holding jobs. I mean, I can go on and on about it, but I'm just very humbled with everyone that's out there doing this day by day, because it's not easy.
Yeah, and that's a big jump, right? Going from dealing with these challenges, and then now they're on their feet, both in terms of the recovery and financially, right? When they have a job. So, I mean, now I will say, Chief Wheeler. So when you've been on the show before, when you were interviewing Grayson or Leroy, like I would listen to the interviews, and hearing about all of that has been easily my favorite part. of your conversations with us. Although I do like numbers as well, so I like that as well. But Taylorville Police Chief Dwayne Wheeler has been joining me this morning on the WTIM Morning Show. Chief Wheeler, thanks for coming on.
You're welcome.
Thank you for listening to the WTIM Morning Show. Back in about 10 minutes.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville. 96.1 FM Taylorville. 107.5 FM.